Hey guys, I'm Devin,
I'm Diego.
And I'm Max.
and we're Baka Burrito. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content, and feel free to comment down below. Today's episode of Burrito Banter, we're going to be talking about overrated and underrated characters from popular manga and anime. And I guess we're going to start with Bleach, so hopefully we don't piss too many people off. So, Max, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my underrated character to start,
Okay.
and that is somebody that is always there for Ichigo. It's Chad. That man's been with Ichigo since day one, and no one ever remembers when they talk about favorite characters. There's no one ever mentions Chad, man. Like Chad's there. He's that guy that's like, go on ahead. I'll take care of this guy. Like without Chad, the crew is not getting anywhere.
But you know, the thing is, he never does take care of that guy.
Yo, but he's there though to buy you time. Think about it though. Like, we all got that one boy in the group who like is gonna take those hits for you, and the rest just get the run past.
No, you're definitely right. He's definitely the most loyal. You know what? I'm gonna give it to you. He's definitely underrated. Definitely not strength wise. I think he's
Oh
in the
no.
words of Diego. I think he's rated.
He's rated, yeah.
But he's that guy though in the squad who's just he's always there. I've never seen like arc without him at least doing something at least. Like he's always contributing at least to the group, which to me is like
Or
you need
trying to
those kind of
contribute.
guys.
Yeah, we're trying to contribute because like
Hey.
he either gets washed or he gets saved. Like
Hey, I'm
there's
just
like no.
saying. Where's Ichigo's dad this whole time? Oh, right, he's just at home. Yeah, he has the power to help, but he's just sitting there while Chad's getting his ass whooped against like whoever.
All right, I think we're all in agreement there. I would say yeah, I agree. Diego, do you have an underrated?
For Bleach, an underrated for Bleach. No, I don't. I think all characters are pretty rated. Maybe
Boo.
I mean, I could give like maybe I might have an overrated for Bleach, not really underrated though.
Okay, okay. I also don't have an underrated because the people I think are underrated, they're underrated like character-wise. For example, I think like Uryu is a little bit underrated, but he contributes a lot to the story, so it's not like there are definitely people who think he's like their favorite character. So I wouldn't necessarily call him completely underrated. So I will just go ahead and I'll skim over my underrated as well for Bleach. So now that we're on to overrated, um, I think Diego, you should lead this one off because Max has already got a whole little segment.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't think he's overrated, but it's not interesting the fact that Ichigo has a little bit of absolutely every single ability
Yep.
in there. It's just like, are you
Oh, you mean
serious? Like,
the
can you?
Soul Reaper, Quincy, Hollow, Human, Super Terminator of
Yes,
Death?
yes. And then on
Wait, you
top of
forgot
all,
Fullbringer?
yeah, and
Oh
Full
yeah, yeah,
Bringer.
yeah. Can't
And
forget
then
about that. Like,
on top of all of that, he masters everything within such a short. They literally said, "Oh, it takes thousands of years to master Bankai." He's like, "I one day
Well,
Bankai."
it was 3 days, and it wasn't him. It was Yoroichi, and it still wasn't mastered because remember he lost like significant power and speed in the fight with Byakuya. He was fighting him with an imperfect Bankai.
he
But I
still
do
was halfway
understand.
there.
But he still went on to you. All right, you're right.
No, no,
You're right.
no, no.
But still,
You're no, no. You're right. You're right. I
a
just, I
thousand
just
years to 3 days. You know, like.
come on. That's a great transfer rate.
But can he be overrated though? Because he's the main character. He's supposed to be like ridiculous and just saving the day and looking good while doing it. Like, come on.
Speaking
You're
of
right.
speaking of him looking good while doing it, Ichigo, I will say the only thing about him that's not overrated is his drip.
Oh,
This-
word.
Yo, every single outfit this man had, even the full bring outfit that he had for literally a panel, one panel, was fire. It was straight heat. He looked like a superhero.
Yeah, I
But
kind of want a jacket of it though. So if that
But,
ever comes up, please
I'm-
comment down below for me.
I'm gonna go ahead and piss off every Bleach fan, and my overrated character is Hitsugaya.
Oh, you mean Ichigo if he wasn't a main character?
No, so like people are always like, "Oh, Hitsugaya is so strong. Hitsugaya is so this. Hitsugaya is so that," but he only has 4 wins, 1 loss, and 5 draws. Like, I don't know about you. That's not a great record. Like,
I'm
sure,
gonna say though, it's not a losing record though. So
no, you're right, but there's definitely characters who contribute way more to the story and are also more interesting.
hashtag Chad.
He's bruh. He's one of those characters that like he contributes to the story because like he's cool, but like not because you like care about him as a character. Like the only development he has is that he gets older.
That's
All
why.
right,
I mean,
I'll give you that.
but
Fair enough. Like,
but to be fair, aren't they like all like thousands of years old?
Yeah, yeah.
Their development has like already happened.
And they're dead. I understand. Where most of them are dead. So I do get it, but like Kenpachi develops, you know, like Aizen has his little moments where he develops.
Yakuya.
Yeah,
Renji.
yeah, Byakuya develops a lot. Hashtag Team Byakuya. But yeah, so Hitsugai, like he's cool and I like him as a character. Matter of fact, I even voted for him in the final popularity poll. But do I think he's overrated? I think so. I do. So Max, now I guess we're on to your overrated character.
oh yeah, and it's pretty much like it's Aizen, but fully evolved Aizen, because
like specifically that form?
just specifically that form, because he was there for like only like 2 episodes, and they got his
The
ass
fairy?
whooped. Yeah, the fairy. This man just gets his ass kicked. Well, I shouldn't be cursing probably on this podcast, but this guy's getting his butt kicked all over like the freaking map, and he's over here like, I am the supreme being. I am evolved. Meanwhile, Ichigo's over here like, I hold my beer real quick and smacking this dude around. And like the only reason I say he's overrated is because a lot of fans are like, oh my god, he's so great. But can you really be that hyped for only being there for like 2 episodes?
I get where Max is coming from, because that was the funniest thing ever when they were when they were like clashing swords and then a mountain explodes and he's like, you see, I did that, but it was actually Ichigo.
No, but like also the thing I don't like about Aizen was he started this whole trend of like bad villains. Like he did it pretty well. I don't hate Aizen. I like him for Bleach. I don't like certain aspects of what he did, but he started the trend of I put all of the events into action, and everything you've done up until this point has been by my design. Cough, cough, Black Zetsu.
But what I liked about Aizen originally, though, was that he was like this final boss. Like he was manipulating things behind the scenes, and it was really cool. Like to think, like, oh, is this part of Aizen's plan or not? And then you get fully evolved Aizen, who just like disregards all of that, mind you. And it's just like, I am going to use brute force here. When I'm like, that is not what you've been doing since the beginning of this anime. Why are you changing so much? Just why not outthink Ichigo if he's much stronger than you? Granted,
He wasn't.
He wasn't.
He definitely
No.
wasn't.
Like Ichigo at the end, just like straight up one shot killed him at the end. Granted, it was a move that ended his Soul Reaper career.
Yeah,
Granted.
I was about to say you have to recognize that the final Getsuga Tensha literally drained all of his spiritual power. Like I was like, I don't know about like but yeah, Aizen is pretty overrated as like a character. But like in the story, they use him as a plot device pretty well. Even later on, we can't really talk about that one because it's manga only at this point. But
Hopefully not soon.
where Bleach comes back 2021, right?
2021 as of right now, but let's hope COVID doesn't push that back to 2022. I've waited too long for this.
All right, so now I guess we're moving on to Dragon Ball. And if you guys don't mind, I'll go first on this one.
Go ahead.
Cool. Okay, so my overrated character for Dragon Ball, and I'm counting Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, even GT if you want, I guess, and Dragon Ball Z. I can't believe I forgot that one. So my overrated character in the Dragon Ball series is Kami. Not Dende, Kami, the one that fused with Piccolo to give him Super Piccolo. Because the Namekian fusion transformations don't make much sense to me. Because it's never like they get an additive power boost. They get like... It's always a multiplier. It's always a multiplier, and it doesn't make any sense because neither of the characters, like, it doesn't equal the sum of its parts. You know, like it's just
It's
They're
just like
too
let's
strong.
go from a 2 to like a 20 out of nowhere. I'm like, how did you
Exactly.
even get to 20?
And
Like,
then it's made even worse by the fact that like he loses after that anyway. I'm gonna include Nail in this as well. Nail and Kami, because they were supposed to be these power boosts for Piccolo, and then he loses right after, and it's like,
no, he lost
But-
before and then right after
But
too. Don't forget before.
technically, he didn't lose to 17.
Yes, he did.
Because he to 17. No, they were matched.
they were
equal.
they were even.
They were completely even, and then Cell came in.
And to me, that's still an L
But
because
Cell, but that's the thing. Cell waited till they were both tired and then watched them both. Like,
Yeah, so
So,
that
like-
part makes sense. The part that doesn't make sense is how does Kami plus Piccolo equal 17 when 17 was just washing
because
Piccolo and Super Saiyan Vegeta along with
exactly. The fact that 18 and 17 are like pretty equivalent in power level, right? And then 18 absolutely bodied Vegeta. Like Vegeta got so disrespected that he's a meme with his left arm in his arm. Like and Vegeta was so much stronger than Piccolo that Kami plus Piccolo does not equal Vegeta in my head, let alone 17.
All right,
like-
and that we
Yes.
talked about Wash. Can I talk about my underrated character?
Underrated? Go ahead. All right, if
Yeah.
it ties it well.
Oh, it ties it there well because it's a man everybody knows and loves, Yamcha. 100% underrated. No. So hear me out on this, okay? Like, who's that guy who's like, it's like Chad. Who's that guy who's always a team player and ready to go? Yamcha. Who's that guy that you know
not
is
Yamcha.
the real deal? When he dies, it's Yamcha. Who helped Vegeta get his girl? Yamcha. This man here has been working
No.
behind the scenes.
Pause. Pause. No.
Yo, I don't know. Yamcha took that retirement plan after getting that hole from.
Yeah, because Bowman then learned what a real man was after being
No,
Yamcha.
it wasn't
so.
even 17 or 18. It was Dr. Giro.
Dr. Shiro and his career. But think about it though. We
Yo,
don't even
also-
know where the freaking androids were. If it
but
was
he
for
was still
Yamcha
there
getting
for-
bodied.
But he was still there for moral support. You
Yo,
know.
listen, Yamcha's
For
been
the
there
cell
through
game.
everything. When he has no business being
Right.
there.
Yamcha got beat so bad in the Android saga that this man decided to play baseball.
You know what? Then he came back in Super though. And came in clutch for the
No,
his
he lost that
universe.
baseball in Super to his ex-girlfriend's husband.
No, he didn't. Remember he got home safe. Remember he was
so that's
obliterated.
right. He just destroyed the field.
And then they had a throwback to the original Dragon Ball Z.
Yo,
Yeah.
listen, here's the thing. I don't think Yamcha's underrated because he did contribute certain things to the series. They were just done better by everyone else. Like, specifically, Gohan, right? Gohan took Wolf Fang Fist. He uses it way better. Gohan took his outfit. He mastered
His
the drip.
hairstyle, his drip.
His hairstyle, his drip. Oh, future Gohan was literally just Yamcha with a cooler look and one arm.
Without a scar.
And who do we have to thank for all of that? Yamcha.
I don't know about that one, man.
Yo,
I'll
we
give
got
it to
all
you, Max.
thank.
I'll give it to you, Max. Simply
Oh,
because
my-
I want to move on.
I'm just saying, all this Yamcha hate needs to go away. Like, this man has carried the team for so long, his back broke. Well, mostly
Oh,
because
my
somebody broke it, actually.
All right, we're moving on. How about you, Diego? Who do you have for Dragon Ball Z? Underrated or overrated? You could choose either one.
All right. Well, for underrated, I mean, for overrated, I could do a quick one. The designs in Dragon Ball Z, specifically the villains, are so iconic with Frieza, Cell, 17, 18, Kid
Absolutely.
Buu, all
Yeah.
all the Boos. They're also iconic. But Jiren has the worst character design I have ever seen for a villain. Like he's
What?
just so, this man's wearing a freaking onesie. Like what is this?
Well,
Like,
You know what
like
it kind of
Golden
reminds
Buff?
me of? You remember Jace and Berta? Or Berta was whatever. The blue dude and the red dude?
yeah, the fastest being in the universe. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah,
The
until
fastest?
Goku went, yeah, nah, bruh. He kind of looks like him, but like less like just not blue.
Dude, he even made him gray. Like gray is the most bland color you could be. Like his design is literally just bland.
You ever see those memes where they show like it's like a Pokemon evolution, but it's Caillou, then Saitama, and then Jiren?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Like
that.
I do understand what you're saying. I think Jiren was like cool in concept at first, but his design was pretty bland. I
Yeah.
even think members of his team, like the guy with the beard, I think that guy was much cooler design and he had more potential. But Jiren just had to be this OP bald guy. He looked like a like if they wanted to cast live action, he just looks like Vin Diesel.
All right, so
That's
for
wild.
live adaptation, you need Vin
That's
Diesel. That's what you're
disrespectful as
saying.
shit.
I
Vin
will
Diesel
say
gonna
though,
watch this and beat your ass.
Jiren coming in clutch for the ball team. Like he's the strongest ball fighter in Dragon Ball Z. Let's give that
Right.
shout out.
All right,
Granted, his
Max.
competition is Tien and not go on Krillin, but like
All right. Speaking of Tien, I'm actually going to go ahead and say my underrated for Dragon Ball. My underrated for Dragon Ball is Tien. I know people like to say Krillin is the strongest human, but like Krillin fights a lot of people he knows he can't beat, and like that takes heart. That's cool. But Tien is stronger than Krillin, and he also knows when he shouldn't be fighting. Like this man was like, I'm gonna die if I fight them, so I'm gonna stay out of this one. Like, I don't think, like, and people are like, oh, well, Krillin has more feats. Yeah, getting blown up, what, twice?
3 times.
Exactly. And then he needed his wife to save him from Goku, and that was a friendly match.
2 times.
But, like, that's the thing. Like, I don't think Krillin's overrated. I think he's perfectly rated. But I do think Tien is way underrated. People sleep on him, because I think he's definitely the strongest human in Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
Also, shout out to when he slowed down Cell for a few seconds, giving his all for that and losing an arm. Shout out, like he really committed to the squad at that moment, and
he
just
puts
good
it.
job.
I feel like he puts in the most effort, not the most work, but the
Correct.
most effort.
Correct.
The
Absolutely.
most effort.
Pretty much the same thing Max was saying about Chad. How he puts it, he's always there. It's just
Not enough.
he probably shouldn't be.
But
All right,
commitment.
who's your overrated, Max?
That has to be Gohan, because more specifically, Kid Gohan into Adult Gohan. Because my issue was they were ready to hand him the series, okay? Like he was ready to go, and then they just never did. Like Goku was like, no, we don't do that here. This is my series. Get the fuck
Diego,
out.
I think Max is trying to gun for most hated. He said Gohan.
That's
Yo,
wild.
Well, like, tell me though, what has Gohan really done in Super, like, except get bodied?
Well, pause. He definitely didn't get bodied. He was like one of the only people who was willing to like actually fight his dad. And he was a big contributor in the fight against Universe 6.
Yeah, but everybody's going like, oh, Gohan's just, like one of the strongest. I'm like, I can name like 15 characters that are way stronger than him.
15, I don't know. That's a lot. That's
Goku,
a lot of
Vegeta, Beerus, Angel 1, Angel 2, Angel 3, Angel 4, Angel 5, Angel 6, Angel 7,
That's a
Angel 8, Angel 9,
cop-out, though.
Angel 10.
That is a cop-out. That's a cop-out. I was talking about people who can actually have a fight. But, like, the one thing I will give you, I think in the Buu Saga, Gohan was mad overrated. Because, like, he got his Mystic form and then got absorbed.
Yeah, and like my problem with Gohan though is like he's never lived up to me that hype that he had after the Cell Saga. Like it's just like they hyped him up so much, and like to be like the next coming of Goku, ready to take on the mantle and everything, and then it just never happened. And I can't give him like that level of recognition when he just never reached it. I'm like that's why he's overrated.
And to add to that is they could have done it in a way where he achieved his Super Saiyan 2 form in an intellectual way to add to his character, right?
I agree.
He's always studying and always in education and stuff. That would have been perfect for his character, but instead it happened to be the same way that Goku went Super Saiyan 1 is the same exact way he goes Super Saiyan 2.
So I'm just saying,
and
Krillin the secret, is he really the secret to Super Saiyan?
And it's also the same way. Sorry, Max. 1 second. But to go back on Diego's point, I do disagree with the only people who power up in creative ways are like the human characters and like Piccolo, because like Piccolo like actually absorbs other Namekians and like that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty creative, especially since how they breed.
Yeah,
how they breed's not maybe the right word, but how they
lay
like,
eggs.
So like they reproduce asexually.
Yeah, how they reproduce. Yeah, how they
I thought
reproduce.
they lay
It almost
eggs.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's asexual, Max.
A word. Okay. I thought they maybe just like came out of their mouth or something, just like
It does,
they're
but like they don't.
connecting.
What that means is they don't need to have sex to have a baby.
Yeah, I know what asexual means, but like,
You seemed confused for a second.
such is life.
Another character that also powers up in a pretty creative way is Cell.
Yeah, so
He absorbs machine parts because he's not really an android, but he's kind of like an android, but he absorbs their energy and whatnot. And
no,
he
no, no,
makes,
no, no. He's a wait, what? They're cyborgs, but they're called androids. But they're
yeah.
cyborgs.
Wouldn't
And
he
then
count as an android because he's made out of DNA?
no, androids are completely robotic. So 16 is an actual android.
Okay.
Yeah.
16 is an actual android. 17 and 18 they're supposed to be cyborgs, but they're called androids.
So since Cell is
Cell's
made out of
completely
organic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
I don't.
I
It's
wouldn't.
interesting though.
Yeah,
It's
I wouldn't know how
interesting
to
that
classify him, but like he's cool.
Yeah.
Like the Cell Juniors were pretty chill. I like them as a concept as well. If they would have brought one of them into the story as like a main, like as a staple character, I think that could have been cool too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we're pretty done on Dragon Ball, unless you have an under.
I have one underrated for Dragon
Okay.
Ball, and that's I think Kid Buu as a villain is very underrated because one he was supposed to just he did what he was supposed to represent very well, which is just chaotic evil.
Yeah.
He did that perfectly to the
And
T.
the way he was handled, he wasn't stronger than his last form. Like he was just more willing to like just get down to business.
Yeah.
Like it's like whereas like Super Boo and Fat Boo and the Gray Boo, they were all just like, yo fam. Like well Gray Boo was just mad dirty. But the other two, they were kind of thoughtful in a weird like in a Majin
like
Buu
Super Boo wanted to like assert his dominance the same way Cell did, the same way,
because he
other
absorbed
characters
Saiyans.
Yeah.
It's because he absorbed Saiyans. That's the issue.
Oh, that's a good point. And then another thing for Kid Buu is that I think he has one of the most creative fighting styles within the Dragon Ball universe. Last episode I said almost every character fights the same, but Kid Buu had such a creative way to fight compared to every other character that I just feel like his fights are the best to watch or read in the manga form.
I absolutely agree, and I'll go one further and say another character who he's kind of like an underrated pick for me, I guess, is Gotenks. He has a unique fighting style as well. His volleyball themed attacks and his other game themed attacks, because like they really it's similar to like Gon from Hunter x Hunter, how like it's a very childlike fighting style. I do like that when they're combined, how they tie that in. So yeah, Kid Buu and Gotenks do have a really unique fighting style. I'll agree with you there, completely.
I think that's it for Dragon Ball.
Yep. We're moving on to Fairy Tail. And since Max went first for the first one, I went first for the second one. Diego, you could go ahead and go first unless you don't have one.
Okay, now I mean I feel like no, I don't.
Okay.
I can't
Max,
think of anything.
Max, you have anyone?
Yeah, for underrated, I have Jalal.
Wait.
Underrated.
Oh. How? Why?
Because I feel like is like that you on top list or something, or did I not do my research right here?
No, I'm curious as to how you're. I just want to know.
Well, it's just because whenever people think like who's like the best fighters in a Fairy Tail, it usually goes like Natsu, Gray, Urza, but I never hear Jalal like in that top pantheon of fighters overall.
Oh no, I might have to disagree there. I think Jalal's like always on that top list of fighters in Fairy Tail.
Well, to me, it's just like I never really heard anybody say that before. So
wow.
Yeah, so I have.
That's a take I've never heard.
And this man over here is like working behind the scenes all the time, and no one's been appreciating that. Like he's over there trying to defeat dark wizards, dark guilds, and no one's seeing any of this go down. They're just taking him for granted. I feel like when he does
I will say in the series as like a good guy, he is really underrated. But like, because again, he does a lot of good, but he has to do it in secret.
Which frustrates me sometimes though, because I'm like, give this man the credit he deserves.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. That sounds like another character I think we're gonna talk about later.
Yeah, and I had another sleeper like underrated, which was Makarov, just because like
the Guildmaster.
Yeah, because like no one ever just thinks about the guild master. He's there. He's can beat up everybody, and he's just no one ever considers this dude for like up there in the pantheon.
So you're talking in terms of strength for Makarov, right?
In terms of strength, yeah, because like everybody like thinks of like all the characters we see fighting usually, but Makarov doesn't fight that much. But when he does, I think he has like almost an undefeated, well, not an undefeated track record, but
because I don't know,
close.
because like he's definitely listed as like on par with like the 10 Wizard Saints.
He
So,
was
like,
a 10 Wizard Saint.
Exactly, and like I mean like the current one. So like he definitely gets respect and recognition. But I guess you're right. Like there are like when fans are talking about him.
Exactly,
like,
that's my issue with that.
I'll give you that. Okay, yeah, from like
Like
the
this-
fandom, you got that.
Like this man over here is like easily one of the strongest wizards, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm not thinking about like this old man sitting over there."
I think part of the problem is his type of magic, since it's like he gets big, and like that's his magic.
Pretty freaking strong.
No, I think that's why people sleep on it. They're like, oh well, it's just a big body, but like it also increases his strength and stuff. So like I understand where you're coming from. I'll give you that. Jalal, I don't think I agree. But
I'll
I'll
agree to disagree on that, especially when it comes to just.
I'll agree
in
with
the
his him not getting enough recognition in series from like the other characters, but I won't agree that by the fans he's underrated because I think he's like a fan favorite character.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I've seen tons of disgusting fan art of him. So clearly he has to be a fan favorite in some capacity.
You can see discussing fan art of almost any character out there. Let's be honest. This is a shot at the My Hero Academia universe, by the way.
Ooh, don't take shots. I might have
I'm
to cut
taking
that
a
out.
shot there.
I
Man.
might have to cut that out.
You can put that in a blooper reel if you want, but like that is.
All right. So my underrated character for Fairy Tail is gonna have to be the main character, the first person you think of when you think of Fairy Tail, Lucy.
You damn right.
I was not thinking about Lucy. I was thinking about Natsu.
Exactly.
Lucy is the main character.
But
Proving
the
your
thing
point, huh?
Exactly, because Lucy is the main character of Fairy Tail, bro. And a lot of people forget that because she doesn't fight the most. Like, because like the main cast is obviously Natsu, Gray, Lucy, Happy, and Urza, right? And then like they have a couple other characters like Juvia and Gagio.
They come in later.
Yeah, they come in later, but they're pretty much mainstays to the main group. But Lucy really is an essential part of, like, she's the heart of the group. So when in writing, there's like this thing that you do when there's a 5-man troop, right? And you have the leader, who would constitute as Natsu. You have the Lancer, who's like the leader's rival, who would constitute as Gray. Then you have the big man, and the way they did it in this one was Urza, because she's the strongest. Then you have the smart character. They don't actually have one in the main circle. And then they have the heart, who's like the heart and soul of the group. And Lucy is in a unique position where she's the main character, and she's the heart of the group. So she's like the emotional grounding of the group, and she's a key plot point. Like, they need a strong celestial wizard to open this gate. Cool, we got Lucy. You need this magical artifact. Her dad had it. Now she has it. You know, like, Lucy's really important to the story, and she really motivates a lot of the characters in a way that, like, makes the story feel like a family, you know? Like, so I think Lucy doesn't get enough credit from the fandom as the main character, and I think people should put some respect on her name. Now, if we're talking combat strength, she's, like, bottom in the verse, like, trash.
Yeah, gang destroyed.
But again, that doesn't mean she doesn't serve her narrative purpose super well.
Yeah, which actually leads into my overrated choice, which is Natsu being overrated, because everybody thinks he is the main character, when I'm like, no, he's not. Lucy is. And like the reason he's overrated is because everybody just goes with that assumption. They're saying, oh, Natsu's that guy. He's like on almost all the covers for everything. He's that guy you think of in Fairy Tail. And I'm like,
and he is the guy you think of. It's
and like
just
it's well earned because like he does so much of the fighting and everything, and does a lot of the crazy stuff. But like Lucy is the main character. She's the reason that this show even exists.
I mean, I don't know about that, because he was gonna make that show regardless.
I know, but we started the whole entire story and the adventure.
I would
with
say
her.
certain things about Natsu do irk me. Specifically, like the way he wins a lot of his fights.
Eating an element that's not his.
I mean, I think that is cool, and when they kept it so that he had adverse effects to it, like when he first ate lightning, how he got sick after, and like how when he ate Ethereon, like it was destroying his body. But when his body adapted to it, and he was able to just kind of use lightning at will, I was like, that's a bit much.
And it's just kind of like, let's just keep making him stronger and stronger. Who cares about like
When he was
grounding
like,
them?
Thunder, dragon, fire, dragon's roar. I was like, that's cap.
I'm like, hold up, that's a lot
Yeah,
of dragons
I
and
feel
thunder
I feel
and
like
fire.
I feel like in a way that shows that the writer wasn't as creative as they could be with fire powers, because instead of just because
Well,
fire could be such a creative element, and
they
instead of
had
just sticking
other,
with fire,
yeah.
he was like, let me just give him other people's elements to play off
Well,
of.
I'd argue that Dragon Slayer magic in particular isn't so much the element; it's more so the consumption that's the magic part. Because they had other magic like fire users in the show, and they used those really creatively. Like the Natsu from the other universe used fire magic to fuel a car.
Yeah, and that
I
other
thought,
fire wizard who was able to do different flames with different attributes.
yeah, and the flames would have different effects based on their color.
Stinky
He even
flames.
had a brown one that like tasted like doo doo.
No, you were thinking of the yellow. It smelled real bad.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I thought it was my fault. I thought it was the brown one. But yes, but I agree that Natsu's a bit overrated in the show, and by the fandom.
Right, and power wise, not overrated because that man.
Somewhat.
Later on, like we're not going to talk about why, but like.
But that just goes into the power of friendship thing that not a lot of people love about anime in general. But Fairy Tail is.
If there's anything I've learned from anime, it's that the power of friendship can solve everything. Backbreaking debt, friendship can solve that.
Backbreaking debt.
I haven't been able to solve that yet, but like I'm hoping that this friendship works out, or maybe we can break my debt up.
I'll go into my speaking of fire and lightning. My overrated character for Fairy Tail is actually Loxus, because, and it's because of how he's written that he's overrated. He's written in a way where he's so strong that the writer couldn't put him in a lot of fights because the fights would just be over.
They really did start him at too high of a tier.
And when they do that, it's the same thing that happened with Guildarts. So I guess Guildarts and Loxus are in the same boat for me. They don't fight a lot because unless you have a character who's so dominant against the rest of the guild that you have to use him, it would just feel cheap every time they want to fight. You know what I mean?
It's like an insta-win condition, like using those two characters in any fight.
It's like how in Yu-Gi-Oh! When they used Exodia in the first episode, and the writer was like, well, I don't know how Yugi's ever going to lose a duel again. So they threw it off of a boat. They just stop using Loxus, and then when they make him sick and he gets weaker, then they start putting him in more fights, and I like that. I think that
wasn't the lightning was tearing apart his body or something.
No, it was. I think it was also Ethereon magic.
It was something like his body was like not the same condition it was like before a certain point.
Yeah, but I think it was the Ethereon magic that he tried to stop or something like that.
No, it was the Thunder Array. Remember that he had? It was
I don't think lightning was hurting him, Max.
No, but he absorbed all that lightning. It was to overload his system. I think that's what happened.
I'm gonna have to fact check you on that one, but
yeah, you can comment down below later, like when we edit this.
It'll be on the screen when I'm done editing. And
I'm saying you put this here, and it'll say either I was right or you were right.
You gotta be like, it's right here.
Right here, right where I'm pointing right now, right here.
It's gonna be somewhere. I don't know which side of the screen I'm gonna be on. So
whoever was wrong.
You got it. But yeah, I think that about covers it for Fairy Tail, unless Diego has anything to add about any of our characters.
For Laxus, I did have something. I guess when he was introduced, his character development was great, right? But,
I agree. Yeah.
Yes.
But it was very predictable. It was like obviously, which I have a problem with when characters are introduced and I can instantly tell where the writer is gonna go with those characters, and I'll bring that up later. But that's it. That's all I gotta say.
All right, cool. So this next portion is gonna be about My Hero Academia. And I know specifically, um, myself, I'll tell you right before I talk about it, that I will be mentioning a spoiler for a certain character. And I believe, Diego, you have one as
Yeah.
well, a spoiler from the manga.
Yeah.
Okay. Max, did you have any manga spoilers?
Not necessarily.
Because
If I'm gonna say anything, I'll let everybody know ahead of
but
time.
but we will be spoiling the anime because it's about to come back for season 5. So I think at this point, if you're not caught up on season 4, you should probably go and do that and then come back to this video. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with my underrated character, and I'm gonna say Mr. Compress. Now, for those of you who don't
Who is
remember,
that?
Mr. Compress, the dude with the mask and the top hat, with
Yeah,
the ability to turn people into marbles.
Oh yeah, that dude.
He said, "Oh yeah, that dude."
Yeah, that guy that did the thing. Yeah.
First of all, Mr. Compress has one of the best quirks in the whole show because, like, you have to think about it. He's a sleight of hand magician, and he uses it in such a creative way where, like, he was able to trap a piece of ice, and he had people thinking that that's where Tokoyami and Bakugo were, but it was really a piece of ice. Like, and so, like, and like he changes where it is with misdirection, and because of his performer background, he like levitates, and people are like, "Wait, how is he doing that?" And it's like that's not part of his quirk, and it's just weird, like, which is really cool to me.
Yeah, it misdirects people because knowing someone's quirk is how you defeat someone. Is how you would defeat someone. So it's
just
good.
don't know how he's
He
doing
uses
it.
his performance background as
And so he
as a way
uses
to
the
play.
performance background that has nothing to do with the quirk because his quirk is turning things into marbles. Like, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk specifically about a fight against Snatch when it was him, Shigaraki, and Dabi fighting against Snatch to get not Shigaraki, Overhaul's body. And he used his marbles in such a creative way. He threw a marble and there was a car in it, and he crashed one of the trucks with a damn marble, and then he was able to capture flames in a marble and then capture Snatch in the flame. He got the kill on this guy by roasting him alive in a marble.
And if I could go on top of what you're saying about him being creative, also when he's first introduced, you know, when they're like doing their training arc in the forest, when he uses his sleight of hand though to trick everybody into grabbing the wrong marbles, that's using his talent as a magician. When I saw him do that, I'm like, oh my god, this man outplanned these people and already got what he wanted was out.
Exactly, and if it wasn't for Aoyama, because again, he's a performer, so he's gonna reveal the trick at the end. And when he took his mask off and in his mouth were the 2 marbles,
yeah,
it made sense why he hadn't been talking for the last 3, like the last portion of the scene. Because at first he was talkative the whole time, and then out of nowhere he went behind the ice, and then he didn't talk again. It was amazing. It was amazing, and
well executed.
And he was able to get the drop on a group of 5 students, and then capture Tokoyami and Bakugo in an instant, and get away from all of those students.
You did a good job.
All
right, and since I'm gonna talk about some underrated characters also, they kind of feel like they're in the same category. Gentle Criminal. If you guys know the name, know the legend, the myth. Unfortunately, he didn't finish his last trick, but you know, he's one of those characters I hold near and dear to my heart because he's only there for like 3-4 episodes. But this man uses quirk in such a creative way. When you can change the consistency and thickness of something, just doing that with air was so cool to me because you can't see it. Like when he alters like the air, the consistency, so somebody just goes crashing into some rubber air and goes flying off into another direction.
I mean, that's what got him in trouble. He tried to save someone, and the hero who was going to save him hit the rubber air and bounced back down to the ground, and then dropped a filing cabinet on him on accident.
That's wild.
His issue is, how did this man fail the hero licensing exam? I will never know because this quirk is so versatile for helping people and just even fighting villains in general because he showed that he can fight with that quirk pretty effectively.
But I think that was the issue. He didn't train his quirk in a way where it was good for hero work. Because you have to remember, he was kind of just like doing the bare minimum. And then he just kind of thought he could be a hero one day.
Well, that's another thing I like about the character, because he has some really good character development in like 4 to 5 episodes. Like you learn about his struggle. Like you also learn about the other side of hero society, which I really like through his eyes. Those heroes who can't actually become licensed heroes, that have to possibly give up on their dream and what they might eventually succumb to because they failed to accomplish that dream. Which to him was petty crime, but
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call them the heroes though. Like it's specifically the others of the society. Because I think the League of Villains, and actually all of the villains in My Hero give a good lens into the less glamorized side of society, because it makes you really think, like, why is hero work so prevalent? Like, why can so many people be heroes? Like, why is crime so high? You know, like, why are there that many villains? And it really shows you, like, how prejudiced the society in the show is. I don't mean to, like, get off on a tangent about how good My Hero is, but I think the three of us can agree about that, right?
it's so good. Yeah. But just like my last point on Gentle is always like, I like how it's not necessarily super dark, how like the other villains eventually go down like this really, really dark path because of how society treat him. To him, he ends up, all he wants to do is be known and be famous, like make a legend for himself.
And you have to think of, like, he's really incompetent too. Like,
yeah, like, but he becomes confident through these videos. And the one thing I just love though about how he's found out is because of his love for tea. I just love how Deku finds out who this man is just because he starts talking obsessively about tea for like a good 3 straight minutes. To me, like, that was just hilarious to me. And then it follows up with this pretty good fight scene, actually.
yeah.
And they just completed that, and I hope he comes back. Like, if this video ever gets to anybody who watches In Charge of My Hero, bring Gentle back, please. Just please. I need some more Gentle Hero in my life.
All right, and Diego, I think now we're on to your pick for underrated characters of My Hero.
All right, so underrated characters in My Hero. I guess I would have to go with Twice, just because the amount of thought that went into his character design and his backstory that I'll try not to spoil it's so good. I've never seen the ability to duplicate something done in that way where it could lead to some sort of mental illness. Yes. And it was explored in a beautiful way. And I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't want to spoil. So I think that's all I have to say about.
You actually you can go ahead. I'll edit around it.
Oh, okay. So like how the fact that he would duplicate himself and he wouldn't know if he was the real one, and then that led to his identity issues and how he would live life so how would you say it? He would live life on a safety net because he doesn't want to disappear.
He was playing really cautious because he wasn't sure if he was if he was one of the doppelgangers or not, because they can't survive any damage past a broken limb.
Yeah,
which I found was super cool though, like just going into his mind and like realizing this fear, because like this quirk in theory should be really, really strong, but in the beginning it's hindered though because of his traumas and fears. And like the power up he does eventually get like is amazing because it's not necessarily him getting stronger, but him overcoming that fear, which I think is a really cool way to power somebody up instead of like saying, I've awakened this secret ability out of nowhere.
It was a great way to have a trauma nerf him in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's like now it's super believable how strong he is.
And I do like how in My Hero a lot of the quirk awakenings aren't there, or like a lot of the characters in My Hero aren't strengthening their quirks. I mean, some of them are obviously, but a good majority of the characters are really just trying to find a way to control, like the way that control equates to strength rather than overall power equating to strength.
Yeah.
Because my overrated character is like the exact opposite of this. But finish your thoughts on Dobby. Twice before we move on.
Yeah. You're already thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I guess, and then my final thoughts are his character design is just so well thought out because he had to have a simple suit because Hiro Mashima is gonna have to draw this dude millions of times throughout, because that's his power. So it's a great way that an artist was like, man, I don't want to have to draw intricate details every time I draw this dude, especially since he's gonna be doubled. So let me just make a simple design, and then that's not even talking about the fact that he like like I love when scars mean something to a character. Like it's not just a scar for the sake of a scar. It's a scar
Yes.
because it
Yes.
it means something.
I
And I felt like
I also like his naming scheme. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I do know it means something, but also the like saying his name, Jin Bubai Gawara. That's such a fun name.
I'm
I
not
can't
even gonna try
pronounce
to pronounce that. Yeah.
word.
First name Jin. We could just leave it there. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna
that was
stick with twice. I like twice.
you got it. You got it. You gonna be a little yeah. You got it. You got it.
All right, so let's talk about your.
So my overrated character for My Hero, and I ask that you all hear me out, everyone listening, because I'm not trying to piss anyone off because I think he's cool.
Too late.
But Dabi is an overrated character.
Oh man, you love Dobby.
I like Dabi. He's definitely not my. He's not in my top five. He might be in my top five. He might be number
So
five.
you love Dobby.
He might be number five, but I can recognize that he's an overrated character. You know, like it just happens that way sometimes.
I don't think there's enough that they've shown of Dobby for me to say like he's at the level like people give him.
Well,
already.
well, let me start with this. The mystery surrounding him is being so well executed, and it leads to such anticipation of a Dabi chapter that everyone's like, oh, or what are they going to reveal? Who is he? What is he? Blah, 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 blah. And we all know, you know, the Dabi is a Todoroki theory, and, like, it has such traction.
Todoroki's brother.
He is a Todoroki. The Todoroki you're thinking of, his first name is Shoto.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So, like the thing is, only 3 characters in the whole show have that turquoise color for the eyes, and it's Endeavor, Shoto on his left side, and Dabi. And then Shoto's other siblings all have the gray eye from the right side of the body, and the mother has the gray eye. So like just based on color scheme, like, and it's very easy to dye hair. So like he could easily have white or red hair depending on which version you look at, because there has been miscoloration in like the pictures of Toya. But that part's really cool. I like that. But then people are like, oh, Dabi's so strong. And his flames are like the hottest flames we see in the show. The issue comes with
Is this
his...
the manga spoiler part?
Yeah, yeah, so the issue comes with, and manga spoiler, let me go ahead and take down that time slot. Okay. So the issue is he uses his body as fuel for the flame, right? So that leads to some really awkward shenanigans where he can't fight for long amounts of time and he has poor control of his power. So now that the spoiler's done, right?
Well,
Go ahead,
not
go
yet, because I'd like to add that also adds to my point where a scar isn't just a scar. It's there for, there's a purpose, there's a
No,
He
of
reason
course,
doesn't
behind
look that
the
way
body
to be
being like
edgy,
that.
is what you mean.
No, of
Yeah.
course, definitely, of course. And that part is cool, but that adds to the mystery. It's like, how did he get it? And it still seems like it's self-imposed. You know, like, or it could have been someone else. You know, if he turns out to be a Todoroki, like, how did that happen? And that's cool. The issue is, they released this thing called the Ultra Analysis Guidebook, which gives stats to all of the heroes, right? And to put in perspective, they gave Deku and Bakugo 5s in everything except for like their special category. So like, yeah, they have power, speed, technique, and intelligence. Technique is pretty much control. Speed is movement speed. Power is obviously physical, like power output, damage output, and intelligence is obviously your brain. So I have Dabi's stats right in front of me. So in power, he's a 4 out of 6, which is a pretty good score, right? That's a B. It's very rare that a character goes over a 5, which is why it's out of 6, because there's an S classification. So he has a 4 out of 6 in power. Then his speed is a 3 out of 6. Put that in perspective, he is slower than Mineta and Uraraka. Then we go to technique. He has a 2. Mineta has a 5. Then his intelligence is a 3. Mineta has a 5.
Is
That's
Mineta
wild.
like low-key the most powerful character in this anime?
Definitely not.
I don't know. He seems to be having
But that's the
vibes.
issue. I think he's really overhyped power-wise. When I think they should really focus more on character with him, because again, his character work is immaculate. But as far as feats in the show, the only person he's beat in a fight has been a clone of Aizawa made by the Bloodlord, Bloodlad, the other teacher, the 1B teacher.
Oh yeah.
And the clones are significantly less durable than the physical body. So I don't think he has the feats to be considered a strong character, but I do think he's interesting. And I like the character a lot. If you have anything to add, feel free.
I don't got anything to add there. I think
Nah,
you
I
touched
agree with
everything.
you. Yeah, I agree with you almost completely.
All right, cool. Max, your overrated character?
I was debating between two overrated characters because these two characters are near and dear to my heart. I love them both, but I had to pick one of these to go over.
Who are the options?
My two options were, and just to say, I love both these characters. Like Lemillion is
And
one
I
of them.
And I love him. You're a Lemillion tard.
I love Lemillion.
Lemillion is
Deku.
dope.
Like Lemillion, I have a background wallpaper for me. But I have to say, like, Lemillion is overhyped, especially for the amount of time that he's given in the anime. Like, granted, love the fight scenes he has, love his character development, but it's just they are hyping a man up who lost his quirk so much right now, and I'm just like, guys, it's Deku 2.0.
But
I get it.
he was giving the hands without his quirk. Like
So for anyone,
I'm not talking about from power or technique, but I'm talking about from just the character development standpoint.
Oh.
His character development.
For everyone who knows me knows I dislike characters in that archetype, like the super hardworking, like I'm strong and I have this backstory that means where I was weak and I get stronger. Like I don't like characters like that. I'm not the biggest fan of Deku. I dislike another character that's coming up later on the list. And Lemillion didn't really do it for me. However, the way the anime adapted his fight against Overhaul with the still images as the fight, where he was outspeeding a guy with a gun and a dude with a quirk, and still able to cover the distance and get back to the girl. I think that was handled excellently, and I will say that was well done. And that is the only praise Lemillion will get from me ever.
So, to get back to what I was saying, though, like for me, I like Lemillion's character a lot. And I love his fighting style and like the hard work ethic, but my issue is the amount of hype he gets from the My Hero Academia fan base overall. Like in comparison to like the hierarchy of other characters that are available, I'm like I recognize I like Lemillion as a character, but there are so many other characters I would put ahead of him in terms of like characters that deserve that recognition before Lemillion, just because based off the amount of time he's also had on screen overall and the amount of like time you took to develop him versus other characters. Like for example, one character I love, Red Riot. They give him so much development, great character, and I think he deserves more time over than Lemillion.
Fair. And on that note, I'm gonna have to move on to Diego because we are getting close to the end.
Fair enough.
Ooh.
So your overrated character?
This one's about to take a while.
Oh,
Yeah, my overrated character. The character that made me drop My Hero Academia twice.
I feel it.
Bakugo.
We're gonna fight.
what? Oh
Yeah,
my,
we're-
bro.
So overrated.
No,
He's
we're gonna
so-
fight.
Alright, let me give you my reasons. So my reasons are, one is, remember how I said that characters that have very predictable character development
He doesn't.
Of course he does. He's so what?
Pause.
His character development is, I can't work with Deku. I gotta learn how to work with Deku. Obviously, he was gonna have to learn how to work with Deku. Wait. I know that's not it, but that's one of them, and that was so predictable that it was gonna happen. 2, I'm so boisterous and loud and rude, and I gotta tone that down when I'm saving people. Obviously,
No, but that's the thing. He's still boisterous and loud and rude.
Let
but
Diego finishes his points, and then
but
we'll.
he's not as loud and rude as he could be after his provisional license test, because he failed because he was boisterous and loud and rude, and he's gonna have to learn how to work on that. That is such a predictable thing. On top of that is, I don't understand this man's logic, because he is portrayed as one of the smarter students, right?
He's
But
number
yet-
3 in the class.
Exactly. How is it that he's portrayed as so smart, yet he doesn't understand that heroes don't bully people. Like he's a straight up bully, and he just doesn't understand it. Like how do you want
But
to be
that's the thing. That's
hero?
the thing. He hasn't been a bully since after they left middle school, right? So he hasn't
And
like
he still calls him a dweeb and shit.
okay, and I say I'm gonna fight my friends constantly. Like
Yeah, but that's not.
I'm friend. They friends to fight all the time.
so like okay, so the thing is like
But
like I
but but that's clear that
right.
he's gonna have to work on that. You know what I'm saying? It was so clear that that's where his character was going.
But it's not though, because if you think about it, there are two professional heroes who are very much like that. Mirako and Endeavor.
Endeavor's not like him.
Yes,
He's
and Endeavor was a bully at home. Like that's the thing.
Ask
So
his wife that. Like,
very true, but it was more realistic, and it's so unpredictable. I did
but
not
no, so
expect
is
Endeavor.
Bakugo. No,
I
but
did not
see,
expect Endeavor to get a character redemption arc. And that's not who's gonna give a character redemption
yo,
arc to an
but that's the
abuser.
thing. That's the thing. Bakugo's character development wasn't predictable. You were thinking in the sense that he was going to be like a Vegeta, right? Where he was just going to like lose to Deku and then become like, oh well, I'm number two,
Are you
but
gonna
like
tell me what I'm thinking?
I'm gonna excel to beat the main character. But that's not what Bakugo is. Like Bakugo is not like that kind of character.
I
Bakugo
never
is
said he was.
Bakugo. Okay. Well, that's the thing. Bakugo is he's low key a tragedy, right?
okay,
That's
can I
all
say
I'm
one
saying.
thing here? Because my thing is this: what was predictable and what I thought was gonna happen, he was gonna pull a Sasuke when he got kidnapped by the League of Villains and go join the League of Villains and try to defeat Deku.
That
I
was
thought
actually
that would have been predictable, but no, he did the exact opposite. He subverted all my expectations at that
So-
moment and said,
so-
"I'm gonna be a hero."
So hold on, I got cut off before.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. So my thing about Bakugo is I relate to him more than I relate to most of the characters because and I'm not bragging or anything. I happen to be one of those people that like picks things up like pretty quickly, like naturally, like I'm pretty decent at things. For him to go through this whole, literally an identity crisis, where he realized he wasn't the best person in his class, where there were two kids who didn't even have to take the entrance exam, where he realized he wasn't progressing as fast as the weaker kids in his class, and he didn't know why because he was surrounded by people who were like literal trash. And now he's surrounded by people who are all competent except Mineta. And even him, he's not completely incompetent.
He does a decent job.
And so this man, he's had to navigate, like, Bakugo is handled in a really human way, especially for a teenager trying to find out who they are. And I like that in a character because it's super relatable because it shows even the prodigious people are able to, like, go through a similar thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. So I agree that his characterization is done well. What I don't like is the fact that it's his personality. I mean, it's supposed to be explosive, but it's just like it's not believable to me that so many people, like everyone in his class, like praises him constantly, and it's like he should be a shutout. Like people,
No,
like
but
if someone acts like that, if someone act like that in real life, to their classmates in real life, do you think their classmates would be as understanding and as
No, but
as like
if you
"Oh, it's
look at it,
possible," you
no,
know?
but if you look at it, that's not what they're like. Literally until season 2, or like pretty much till season 2 is over, the only person who gets close to him is Kirishima. That's the only one. Until he starts hanging out with Kirishima regularly, then Genki Kaminari starts hanging out with him. Then Ashido starts hanging out with him. Bakugo doesn't have any friends other than Kirishima because Kirishima refuses to give up on him. That like
Yeah.
it's made apparent because when they
Yeah,
go to
but they
save
still,
him,
but they still
when they go
praise
no,
him, and they
no,
still,
no,
yes,
they say
do.
the only thing they praise is his strength. Nobody praises him for being an asshole. Nobody praises him for being an asshole. Not one person, except Mirako. Actually,
To me,
um,
it's just they're so accepting of him, if that makes sense. Like Deku is so accepting of him.
the only person who accepts him is Deku for an unreasonable amount.
Yeah,
I will.
no,
I'll give you that point because Deku is the only one. No one else praises him for being a good person. They only praise him for his strength. he doesn't get praised for who he is as a person until after Bakugo versus Deku 2 by All Might, when he said after he says, "Now you know that I'm weak too."
And
When
then
he
that's when I started, when I was like, all right, I can pick this back up, because after that he stops being as annoying.
so
Yeah,
we're gonna
you're
have
right.
to
You're right.
so we're gonna have to move on to the fifth and final show. It's gonna be Naruto, and I think who went first for the last one? Was it me? I went.
you went
Yeah, I
first,
went.
yeah.
So, Diego, you're going to go ahead and hit up first for Naruto, for underrated, if you have one.
Underrated? My underrated is, which isn't really an underrated character, but I feel like a lot of people outside of the Naruto fan base hates Sasuke. I think my underrated would be Sasuke, not within the Naruto fandom or within the show, but outside of the Naruto fandom.
Okay, so you mean like with like casual anime fans and like other people?
The
Yeah. Just
unnecessary hate he gets
he
for
gets a
being
lot of
Sasuke.
yes, he gets a lot of unnecessary hate, and I think it's derived because he's like almost a villain, or he changes too much, or but all of that is almost realistic to
I
his
agree.
goal. Obviously, if he gets new information, he's going to use that
Yeah,
information and
he's
then
going to change.
change his perspective on things. So obviously, him changing too much isn't a big deal. On top of that, this man's a boss. He has the entirety of the Leaf Village wanting him, and he has wants nothing to do with him. He's all about his bag. He's all about his goals. He's
I know,
he's
I
willing
agree.
to do anything. He's such a great character, in my opinion.
He said MOB since day one. No, but like for real though, with Sasuke, I do have a specific gripe, not with him, with how people treat him. They act like him versus the Raikage was an absolute wash, and it for sure was not. Um, because the Raikage lost an arm during the Five Kage Summit, and the Raikage was going to die after he hit Sasuke with the last move. Yeah, but I would still call if he wasn't saved by Gaara, he would be dead. He was going to he was dropping his whole body on top of an Amaterasu, and
What I
like
think Sasuke's bad decision making was is wanting to take on all 5 of these people at
no,
once.
of course, and I'm not saying Sasuke was beating him like that. That'd
No.
be absolutely asinine.
It was a close
for me to
fight.
say. But like that was a draw. Like Sasuke was sustaining some serious injuries, but it wasn't a wash. Like, oh, he got Liger Bomb, but he survived. Like, you know, like
Took that hit like a champ.
people were like, oh, Sasuke's weak until after he gets the Sage of the Six Path power. Nah, cap. You're capping.
Nah, I don't know, man. Killer Bee killed this man twice.
No, but Killer Bee's not weak.
Killer Bee is like up there on the
As
hierarchy.
we find out, Killer Bee is an end game fighter.
Yo, Killer Bee is freestyling on this man. Like, he's freestyling and kills him twice. Like,
Killer,
that's wild.
Killer Bee tried that against Kisame and got beat. So like,
Yeah,
that's his Killer Bee. You know. All right. So Max, who's your underrated for Naruto?
It has to be Iruka Sensei. Because,
Okay.
like, no one ever really pays attention to this guy, but he's, like, the first emotional support Naruto really had, like, as a child. Like, without this man, Naruto does not probably go on the path. He probably ends up being more on the Gaara path, if anything, because he had that support from his teacher there, and, like, that person who believed. And to me, like, especially before, like, Iruka gets involved with Naruto at all, and, like, the third Hokage starts talking to him about watching after Naruto, he kind of represented what the entire village thought of Naruto, and represents also what the village eventually learns about Naruto, that this kid is not a bad kid, like, he's just wants attention.
Yeah, alongside that, I will say I also think it's really important to remember that the Nine-Tailed Fox directly killed Iruka's parents. So Iruka had
still.
Iruka had
still
every reason to hate Naruto.
But he didn't.
Exactly. Well, I mean, he was
He did,
prejudiced. He was prejudiced. He didn't hate him. He was prejudiced. But he was hard on him because he wanted him to do well. And
Exactly.
I think Iruka gets. I do think he's underrated from the fans, but I don't think he's underrated in the series.
Not in the series.
Because he gets 2 moments that are really big. In the wedding OVA, when Naruto asks him to be his father for the wedding ceremony, I literally cried.
Yo, same. That was almost.
I literally cried. And then the other moment was when they brought him back for the waterfall training. When Naruto was doing his Nine Tails training, I think that was really important as well.
Like to me,
But
like
finish your final thought on Iruka.
yeah, like what I was saying, like Iruka was like that father figure for Naruto, like
It,
and
well,
like
it well, Naruto calls him like an older brother character.
yeah, but like we know he's the one though that's always been there for him. But the one moment that like really just like I love this character was honestly like in the first few episodes when he's like when like Naruto's about to be framed for like stealing some the
It's
scrolls
the
or
first.
whatever.
It's the first episode.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the first or second episode, but like this man is like, no, Naruto isn't a bad kid, and it was that moment though that I think really just it hooked me into the series right away because like this weak teacher over here
I'm
is
pretty
like
sure that's the first time we saw Naruto cry.
word first time of many times, but then like he over here all of a sudden he's just like, yo, Shao Clone no Genjutsu. And just all of a sudden, like 1,000 Naruto start come up and beat up this one man.
And on that note, I think we have to move on to
You're underrated, right?
Oh yeah, my underrated. I actually don't have an underrated. I have a couple characters I think are underappreciated, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say Tamari, but I don't have an like. I think she's one of the strongest females in the show, and she does contribute a lot, like in the sense of like in the war and to Gaara specifically, and to Shikamaru's character as well. But that's all I have to say about her. So moving on to overrated. For Diego, sorry.
Yeah.
I actually don't have an overrated for Naruto.
Okay, that's fine. Max?
Overrated for me is somebody that I think you will agree with me on. His name is Itachi, and the fan base
Okay, well, yeah.
overhypes this man's like power to the 10th degree.
But Itachi would have single-handedly finished the war.
Yeah. Listen, if Madara couldn't single-handedly finish the war, Itachi couldn't.
Itachi would have beat Pain.
But he had to team up with Killer Bee and Naruto against Nagato, because that makes sense.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
like what just drives me is like I don't dislike Itachi as a character.
Me
But
neither.
what
I like him a lot.
What I hate though is how these fans overhype this man. He says like this man can single-handedly defeat Kaguya and the Ten Tails and Obito and Madara all at once. This is how hype
Hold up. I don't think anybody says that, because that sounds like that sounds wild. But
I
they
don't know,
definitely
there's probably a
said
few
about
you
them
can find.
individually, and specifically those four you just mentioned. That's absolutely wrong. Like
Exactly.
Tachi's strong. Don't get me wrong, and he has a good toolkit. The issue is he's not like there's nothing he could do to like certain characters, and people are still like, oh, but Tsukiyomi solos the verse, but they forget Sasuke broke out of it with a base Sharingan.
Yeah, like it's just no matter what, Itachi's a great character, but and he's a strong fighter. He is like, but he's not like at this level like where Naruto, Sasuke, and all these other guys are at. Like he's like in that second tier of like fighter where it's like, yeah, he's good, but he's not fighting God or anything.
And Diego, any thoughts on that before we move on to?
No, I completely agree with that. Like his character is great, but he definitely is overhyped in terms of power when it comes to
Yeah, definitely.
Bring on the
Definitely.
fan
Definitely.
hate.
Because I will say his character and his character arc is beautiful, and his last speech to Sasuke was amazing for their relationship. But moving on to my overrated characters, I technically have two. Rock Lee and Tobi Ramasenju.
I can see why. I know we've had this conversation
Bring the
about Rock Lee
dislikes.
before.
So for Rock Lee, y'all gotta realize in canon, this man is 0-2. This man is 0-2. Those 8 gates don't help him.
Well, but hard work though.
But hard work got him
though.
beat.
And push-ups, lots of push-ups.
Ready? So here's the thing. In Naruto, it's very much proven that hard work does not beat natural talent. And let me explain why. He kicked Sasuke in the chin one time, right? And Sasuke saw that and used his natural-born gift of the Sharingan and copied his moves and his base speed. And then in the second round of the Chunin exams was matching base speed. Like his base speed was matching Rock Lee's speed, and now Rock Lee's immediately power crept. Then you have Naruto beating up Neji, who Rock Lee was trying to fight his whole life, and he beats him with one punch to the chin. You know who's a taijutsu specialist? Rock Lee.
Gaara.
Damn, Rocky couldn't
Gaara.
even get one punch in Neji? That's wild.
Yeah,
You want to talk about
and-
getting washed? Gaara.
That's the thing. Naruto is out here punching Neji in the chin one time and laying him out. Rock Lee couldn't land a hit. And then you got Gaara, who got beat by the combination of Sasuke and Naruto. Obviously, Naruto did way more work. I'm not even trying to like say that Sasuke did a lot.
Team on his back
But
there.
Sasuke was able to actually wound Gaara versus what Rock Lee did, chipped his sand and made him mad. Like
He
really,
made
like
it big mad.
really, like the writer hoed Rock Lee. So, and before I piss anyone else off anymore, I think he's very inspirational, and that fight is very iconic. But
He's
I
not
don't-
the best character.
yeah,
People
exactly.
doing too much. People are giving too much credit to hard work in
Pretty
Naruto.
much, yeah. They definitely give way too much credit to hard work because everyone knows if you aren't born with the dojutsu, you're not doing anything in Endgame Naruto.
Except Naruto.
And then for Tobi Rama Senju, the only person he actually beats is Izuna. And the last point that I have as to why he's trash is he got beat by Kinkaku and Ginkaku twice. They killed him. That's it. That's the whole point. Kinkaku and Ginkaku got soloed by Darui.
We done?
So we're done. So guys, that's been Burrito Banter episode 2. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm Devin.
I'm Diego.
Max, but hold up, Devin, forgetting to mention something that's coming this
Oh,
Wednesday.
Right. This upcoming Wednesday, we're starting a new segment called Breakfast Burrito, where it'll be a solo segment for approximately 20 minutes where we talk about a specific anime topic. Hope you join us for that, and have a great day.